With Harkon gone and the vampire threat curtailed, it was time to get on with living the rest of my life. Having grown very fond of Serana, I asked her to stay with me. She happily agreed, for she had grown fond of me as well. After retrieving her from the soul cairn, we left Serana's mother, contentedly tidying up her laboratory at Castle Volkihar. Valerica resumed her alchemical studies, restored her beloved courtyard, and began the arduous task of rebuilding the castle back to its former glory. I was glad to know that she was putting her energy to use for such benign purposes. Serana and I visited her from time to time, and I watched as they began to repair their relationship. Much of the bitterness I had seen in both seemed to have evaporated with Harkon's death. It still made me uncomfortable that they were both vampires, and neither was willing to even consider being cured. But I learned over time to accept them as they were. Fortunately, the two women did not seem to turn towards evil the way I had, or towards madness the way Harkon did. Serana and I briefly returned to Fort Dawnguard, where our success was celebrated and our fallen brothers were remembered.
The people of Skyrim owe you a great deal, whether they know it or not. Shall we continue the fight?
Aye, Gunmar, they owe all of the
Cozy little
Dawnguard.
place, isn't this?
Look, I forgot to tell you that I took care of the vampire at Valtheim Towers. So, no worries there.
Excellent. That's one less beast and nest of broodlings we needn't worry about any longer.
Aye, exactly.
Good luck.
Thank you, Gunmar. With the immediate threat at an end, there were no more pressing matters for us to attend to.
Hi there.
Hello, Dexion.
Can you imagine it? A world without a sun. We would all have been doomed, vampires and men alike.
Aye. Aye.
Once again, the Elder Scrolls have proven their value.
Indeed, the scrolls have served me well, Dexion. We could not have put an end to Harkon without them.
Of course they did. I never doubted for a moment. If I may ask, what will you do with them now?
Well, actually I'm not really sure what to do with them. Did you have something in mind?
I did, in fact. Quite perceptive of you. I'd very much like to have those scrolls. Someday I may be able to return them to their rightful place in the Imperial City. How would you feel about turning them over to me?
Actually, Dexion, that is a great idea. I would be very happy for you to have them. I think they belong with you, in fact. Here.
Thank you. You are too kind.
Thank you, Dexion.
This has certainly been quite the adventure, hasn't it?
We appreciate all of your help and, well, I am sorry for the price you've had to pay.
Harkon's short-sightedness was his undoing. In his lust for, he failed to consider the full consequences of his plans.
Indeed. Ah, Serana. It is difficult, but he is right. Isran offered us a place to stay, but we had already decided against it. Although we did not want to live with the Dawnguard, we both agreed to help Isran any time the need arose. I said my goodbyes, and we promised to stop by and see how everyone was doing whenever we were close to Riften. I had one final task that I felt should be completed. Septimus was awaiting the lexicon on which we'd transcribed the contents of the Dragon Scroll. So we made the long trip to his outpost. Along the way, we visited Avrusa Sarethi and delivered the grapes.
Could always use help picking crops if you need a few extra coins.
Huh. Well, Avrusa, I actually wanted to bring you the Jazbay grapes that you asked for. Here.
Fantastic. I was concerned I had asked for too many. But I'm glad to see you proved me wrong. Let me at least give you something for your efforts. Finding all of these couldn't have been easy. Or cheap.
Thank you. She was very grateful that she could now continue raising her crop of nurnroot to fuel further study into the mysterious plants.
Always a pleasure.
I wish you well, Evrusa. Good luck with your nurnroot.
It's so good to see you again.
Perhaps someday I will introduce her to Valerica, and the two women could collaborate over alchemy. Come on, Serana. As for Septimus, I was rather sorry I decided to return to his remote outpost. The cube did indeed provide the information he had hoped for. Crazy old man. But I also learned more than I'd bargained for. Alright, let's go see the crazy old man. Hello, Septimus.
When the top level was built, no more could be placed. It was and is the maximal apex.
I don't know what any of that means. But, well, we've inscribed the lexicon from the scroll in Blackreach and brought it to you.
Give it quickly. Extraordinary. I see it now. The ceiling structure interlocks in the tiniest fractals. Dwemer blood can loose the hooks, but none alive remain to bear it.
Huh?
A panoply of their brethren could gather to form a facsimile. A trick. Something they did not anticipate. No, not even them.
What?
The blood of Altmer, Bosmer, Dunmer, Falmer, and Orsimer. The elves still living provide the key. Bear you hence this extractor. It will drink the fresh blood of elves. Come when its set is complete.
Ugh. It turned out that Septimus was a devout servant of the Daedric lord Hermaeus Mora, and he had done some horrible things in service to him. He now wanted me to collect blood from all the elven races to allow him to complete his task of opening the Dwemer puzzle box. So you want me to go around and collect fresh blood from all of the elven races. Do you know how crazy that sounds? Look, what is so special about this box anyway, Septimus? Why are you so eager to open it? What do you expect to find inside?
The box contains the heart. The essence of a god. I have devoted my life to the Elder Scrolls, but their knowledge is a passing awareness when compared to the encompassing mind of divinity. The Dwemer were the last to touch it. It was thought to have been destroyed by the Nerevarine, but my lord told me otherwise.
Your lord? Who is your lord, Septimus?
The Daedric Prince of the Unknown, Hermaeus Mora. I thought there were no secrets left to know until I first spoke to him. He asks a price to work his will. A few murders, some dissent spread, a plague or two.
Oh boy.
For the secrets I can endure. In time, he brought me here, to the box. But he won't reveal how to open it. Maddening.
I said nothing. Just bid the man farewell and turned my back, literally and figuratively, on Septimus, Hermaeus Mora, and the entire thing.
I'm okay with the dark, but I've spent more than my share of time in caves already.
Alright, I'm with you,
How
Serana.
long will it be sun? My feet were set upon the rock, but it turned to mud and threw me down.
Alright, come on. Let's get out of here. Goodbye, Septimus. Crazy murderer. Serana and I decided to make a permanent home in Whiterun. Since nobody else had taken over the smithy right next to Bree's home, I asked the steward if I could purchase it. He was more than pleased, especially when I told him of my plans to reopen the shop. I had some skill at the forge, and it would be good to have a vocation. There had been enough adventure to last me a lifetime, and I could think of nothing better than settling down to a normal life for a while. Thank you, Proventus. You won't be sorry, I promise. I moved a few things into the apartment above the shop, and Serana and I spent most of our nights there. Bree's home was lovely, but it was also rather crowded, with 3 grown women living in the tight quarters. Alright, Serana, if I'm going to open the shop, I need to practice my skills and make some items to sell. Oh, here we go. First, the forge. Ah, yes. Alright, let's see. Here, let me sharpen some blades. Right, this is good, and
Oh.
right, we can do, whew, it is hot, isn't it? Let's do a little work at the bench, too. It's going to be hard work, Serana, but we can do this. Once we have some stock built up, this will be much easier to maintain. This is hard work. It's nice though, isn't it, Serana? We have a vocation. We have a home. Yes. I can get used to this life. With me working the forge all day, and Serana spending most of her time either helping or studying with the alchemist in town, my housecaller Lydia complained about being lonely. So after much consideration, the 3 of us decided to adopt the orphan girl Lucia, who wandered around town. Hello, girl.
You're the best.
You know, I've never asked you before, but why are you begging?
It's what Brennan said I should do. He's the only one that's been nice to me since Mama. Since she died. My aunt and uncle took over our farm and threw me out. Said I wasn't good for anything. I wound up here, but I don't know what to do. I miss her so much.
Well, Lucia, what would you think if we adopted you?
Really? Do you have a place I could live?
I have a house right here. It's next to the smithy.
Oh, wow. Are you sure? You really wouldn't mind?
We'd be happy to have you, Lucia. Will you come live with us as our daughter?
Yay! Thanks, Mama. I promise I'll be the best daughter ever.
Well, Serana, it is a big responsibility, but, well, she needs a home. Between the varied skills we all possessed, she would certainly get a well-rounded education. And perhaps when she was old enough to be told about Serana, she'd learn a little bit of tolerance for people who were different. Mara's eyes, but Skyrim could use a little more of that. We made ourselves quite a happy life. I began to study with Yorlin Greymane, the mysterious other smith in town whose hammer I always heard on the way to Dragon's Reach. He worked the Skyforge by Jorvaskar and was a true master of the craft. Thank you, Yorlin. Oh, this forge is amazing. Serana spent more and more time with Lucia, teaching her, playing with her, and watching over her. Honestly, I think that Lucia became the child that Serana would never have, and she was a wonderful mother, despite the faults of her only role model. We took time for an occasional adventure, Serana and I, just to keep things lively. And every so often, when the weather cooperated, I'd head out into the plains and call Durnavir so he could fly through the blue sky.
The skies of Kaisal are mine again.
Hello, Durnavir. Good to see you again, my friend. Watching him soar above always made me laugh in sheer joy. I could almost feel the power and freedom that he must have felt as the strength of his wings carried him higher and higher into the clouds. Go, Durnavir. Sometimes when he roared, I could not keep myself from bellowing in return. Speaking Dova to Dova, he called it, a strange and unlikely kinship that neither of us understood. I never looked for an explanation, but I suspect that my friendship with Durnavir is why the locals called me the Dragonborn. It was a fanciful title, but I had to admit that it was one of the best names I'd ever been given. I'd been a vampire, an adventurer, guild master of the Thieves' Guild, the Dark Brotherhood listener, a blessed hunter of kine, a Dawnguard vampire hunter, and Thane of Whiterun. But now I was happiest being just Yvelda, smith, friend, mother, and Dovahkiin.